So, word on the street is WWE has a problem. Y'all may say why, but the word is people looking at all these AEW new talents. And now that some former WWE superstars have gone over, people are saying that's an issue for the WWE. Well, I want to talk about this because there's a truth to be had about all this conversation. So, here's that coming up on this episode of Break It Down with Brian H, keeping it 100.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Keeping it 100. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. You can make sure you follow me on the screen right there at Brian H. Waters. If you haven't done so, go ahead. Hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button right now. If you're listening on podcasting platforms, go ahead. Hit the follow button or the subscribe button. But also go to the YouTube channel as you will find a lot of exclusives. And before we get into today's show, we just want to let you know that you can support this great podcast as we are in our 10th anniversary. We got some huge things coming up, and your support is highly grateful. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/wrestling realm. You can support as low as $5. You can do it one time or do it per month, whatever your heart leads you to do. Folks, Mick Foley did a video yesterday, and I'm going to play the audio for you guys. Real quick.
Hello, this is the
Here we
hardcore
go.
legend Mick Foley. I'd like to title this video WWE, We've Got a Problem, because I think you do. And that problem is that WWE is no longer the place for talent to aspire to. Part of it is because AEW is doing a great job of attracting great talent, proven talent, building other talent, creating storylines, but part of it is a problem of your own making. I think younger talent sees the way that developmental characters are cut or left by the wayside, or in the case of Karrion Kross, greatly watered down and even made a joke of when they debut on the main roster. It's not broke. Don't fix it.
So I'm not gonna play the whole thing. Y'all can find that on Twitter, Facebook. He did it on his Facebook page, put the link on Twitter. Obviously, a lot of networks have picked it up, but I wanted to put that here for context. And I'm gonna show you the graphic for this show, episode 210. By the way, very happy. I was going real hard, first hundreds, then slow down because we got the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. But on here, you see Miro, Bryan Danielson. I got here used to saying that, folks. CM Punk, Adam Cole, Jon Moxley, Malachi Black. Right there, all these guys wore some sort of gold in the WWE, right? Miro, United States champion, winning the WrestleMania undefeated. So he had a big, push. Bryan Danielson, 5-time champion. Wait, I might be off with the numbers. I actually think it's I don't, numbers don't matter like they did in the 90s. But Grand Slam champion, I do know that. CM Punk, world champion, WWE champion, over 434 days as champion. Mind you, about Daniel Bryan, also unlike others on here, main event of WrestleMania. Had a WrestleMania built around him. Adam Cole, Mr. NXT, and former NXT champion, held the title for well over a year. Jon Moxley, WWE champion. Malachi Black, NXT champion. So there's this discussion right now. WWE, you have two sides of every story, right? One side, WWE's in trouble because everybody wants to go to AEW, and you got all these guys, right? Then you have this other side. AEW cannot survive unless they have the former WWE superstars. There was also, I wish I could pull it up, but there was also let's see if I find it in my group chat, a page where they had former WWE superstars, right? Now, I'm going to just go ahead and run these names off to you. You got Paul White, Mark Henry, Billy Gunn, Goldust, Stardust. These are the images they're using. Obviously, y'all know Dustin Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, Sting, Taz, Vicky Guerrero, good old JR, Jake Hager, I'm gonna call him, man, I can't think of his name right now, but Sean Spears. I almost called him his other name. Sean Spears. They got Miro on here. Um, the Revival, Ruby Soho, Tay Conti, Matt Hardy. I don't even know who this other guy is in the center. Oh, Evan Bourne. And then they got Adam Cole. Oh, Andrade. Outside of people I just listed earlier, Chris Jericho, Pac, Christian. So everybody's saying, they got half of WWE's alumni. Here's the truth, folks. A lot of these people would have never even went into the WWE had AEW been around 10 years ago. WWE has always had this standard and this way that they do business, right? Give credit to CM Punk for being what he said, the voice of the voiceless, and kind of breaking through that glass ceiling and really challenging authority to give some of the more traditional independent wrestlers an opportunity. Now you have another promotion that's got a lot of money that they can pay these people, and they're going to apparently give them creative freedom and let them wrestle more. You look at the title of the company as All Elite Wrestling, where WWE, yeah, is World Wrestling Entertainment, but it's really just WWE, kind of like KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, when I look through that list, most of them weren't WWE guys in the first place. Like Bryan Danielson was not a WWE guy. Yes, these people, and when I had Drip and Banks, shout out to the Banks versus Davis podcast. When I had them on the show, we discussed the fact that you have these wrestlers that, because of the opportunity from the WWE, they've been able to rise to new heights, right? They've been in more homes. They've been in more, their merchandise has tripled because of the WWE machine. Even if they were just like on the mid part of the roster, right? They were exposed to a bigger audience. Children know who Bryan Danielson is because of his run in the WWE. Sure, the diehard wrestling fans would pay attention and be like, oh yeah, I like this guy, right? This is the guy I want to be with. I mean, this is the guy I want to watch. I want to follow his career. But there's no doubt about it that if you really look at them, like Adam Cole was a huge superstar, but going to WWE made him a bigger superstar. I always believe, out of all the ones, I was on a high after watching AEW, and that's the way I want to feel about when I watch wrestling, WWE, AEW, whomever. ROH gave me that feeling years ago when Kevin Steen beat Davey Richards for the World Championship. But I was on a high, but I was like, man, you know what? I wanted Adam Cole to stay in the WWE because he could do so much more, right? But there's a company like AEW. He goes there. His friends are there. He feels like, hey, I can, do more of what I want to do and still take my stock to a new level. I don't have a problem with the quote unquote former WWE stars going to AEW because, yeah, let's be real. For the ones that the stars that they were building, it is unfortunate because Adam Page may get pushed back a little bit, right? And I've gone on record and I told people I'm not invested in this run. Everybody's saying, okay, he's the next one. He's going to get the championship. I'm not invested yet. But nonetheless, he may get pushed back. Some other people may get pushed back. But when you got superstars at your, opportunity to sign an Adam Cole, why wouldn't you? And you look at him, he's a star. He's in the prime of his career. That's like saying, you take the Los Angeles Lakers a couple years ago, right? When the Lakers said we're going to build around Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram, every Laker Nation was like, okay, cool, whatever. But then there's an opportunity to get LeBron James, right? You get him. So now you build around LeBron James. Even though, yeah, he's in his prime. He's a proven championship guy. Then there's an opportunity to get a star like Anthony Davis. You have to do that. And that's the thing with an Adam Cole. When you have an opportunity to sign somebody like that, a once in generational talent, you have to do it. You have to pull the trigger. But then you got a guy like Bryan Danielson, who's proven and dare say refreshed. When you really look at what happened a couple years ago, and he couldn't wrestle anymore, then he comes back, wins a couple world championships. Well, wins the world championship, has not one but 2 main events in WrestleMania, and you have an opportunity to cash in and get him. Why not? CM Punk sitting there, regardless of how people may feel, CM Punk is, he's somebody that's going to draw money. He's going to draw attention. I don't look at ratings numbers. I'm smart enough to understand how they work. But I do think this is good for wrestling. It's good for the business. One, you do have a company that wrestlers will love to go to, aspire to go to, right? People who love the art of wrestling and going out there. But then you also have the entertainment company. I think WWE will always be the place people want to be because right now there is no WrestleMania. There's not even another SummerSlam somewhere. So the opportunity to be in front of a large audience and to be around people who love, to get that crossover appeal, absolutely. But if you're looking to wrestle and you're looking to have some creative freedom and you say, look, we can build this into something special, well, why not go to AEW? So I think the truth is, when you really look at it, a lot of these people wasn't WWE guys anyway. Like I said, I'm gonna bring this back up. Moxley, he was always told he was a different type of cat, right? Malachi Black, somebody people wouldn't have ever thought they would have seen in the WWE. Adam Cole's another one because people say, "Oh, he's small." WWE would never take Adam Cole. Vince would never take a chance on him, because with these people, we saw the same struggles that CM Punk and Daniel Bryan went through. We saw that coming. We said, oh, they're going to have these same struggles. So, Cody was born and bred in the WWE, but do we really think we was going to get Cody in the main event of WrestleMania? Dustin Rhodes wasn't. Goldust wasn't. Miro, okay, you could say, but Miro was a bigger guy. Yeah, he probably would have been. But, Andrade is another one. So, when I look at this, I said, a lot of these people aren't necessarily, they're former WWE superstars. They made a lot of money from the WWE and for the WWE. But when you really think about it, they aren't WWE guys. AEW would have been their home had AEW been around 10 years ago. So when you really put that together, is it really a bad thing that they're going to AEW? I don't think so. So I'm looking forward to seeing how things play out. I think, again, this is great for wrestling. This is good for the business. So I'm really excited. Let me know what y'all think as I get ready to get out of here. WWE, they're going to be all right. They're going to be just fine. They got Roman Reigns. They're still leading in the ratings. They're still the number 1 wrestling company, even though they're an entertainment company, a sports entertainment company. They're still number 1. They still have the ability to pay people. But all this time, a lot of people was getting upset the fact that talent was getting released. And, look at, Ruby Soho. Of course, nobody understood that. You looked at her and Liv Morgan, you said, okay, they got an opportunity, and then she gets released. Nobody understood that. But when you look at her and you say, well, if she can be who she is, maybe she could be, people been complaining about the way the women been booked. Let's see if she can get them to another level. But overall, now that these wrestlers have a place that they can go to and be wrestlers, that's what's going to make this fun, because you're really going to see, with people like Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson on television, on TNT, man, get ready, because a lot of the stuff with the Elite we didn't see in the United States. So whether they rehash that or go in a different direction, that remains to be seen. But I'm telling y'all, wrestler fans, this is a great time to be a wrestler fan. Probably more since 2000, or I should say 97, 98, because now we're going to get an opportunity to see different promotions. And because one promotion does this, another promotion going to step their game up. Because one thing we know, nobody likes losing. So that'll do it this week, folks. Make sure y'all check out every show we have here on the Wrestling Room. I'm gonna give you life after WWE. I'm gonna go ahead and run this promo so y'all can check that out before we get out of here. Until the next time, make sure you hit the subscribe button, tune in, let the people know about the wrestling realm. Shout out to everybody who support. Appreciate y'all.
Actually, wrestlers don't have to follow what is considered the status quo of the WWE these days. If you're not being used, you can decide I want to do something more. The rush of the fans, whether it's 50 people or 50,000, no longer makes a difference because superstars just want to be recognized because they feel now that maybe I don't need the machine to be what I consider successful.
Yep. That's true. You look at a guy like Cody Rhodes, right? Homegrown. Let's not forget. Homegrown in the WWE. What'd you say? Born with a silver spoon in his mouth?
Absolutely.
Say when it comes to the business?
Of course.
And he left because he wasn't like the way he was being used. I mean, he even went on record saying he had the challenges was like figuring out what to charge people.
Right.
What to charge promoters, what to expect. Because he hadn't been through this before.
No.
But he's went out there, he's thrived. We mentioned him on our Breakout Superstars episode, which you can find on the Wrestling Wrealm YouTube channel.
Did we?
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notified every time the Wrestling Wrealm posts new content.